mentally broken, physically broken, and more spiritually broken. That that amount of time will spiritually break you, not knowing whether you're going to live that day every day for 470 days. That takes a very large toll on you. Emily was 50 days, but she was never in a tunnel. She was above ground all the time. She wasn't
Yeah.
with the hardcore Hamas. Whereas Emily Damari, I don't know, probably in the tunnels. So she's had a much worse experience than Emily ever did, and for way longer, like times 10. And she's older. So, yeah, her fears of being raped, tortured are on a level way higher than Emily. So it's until they're able to talk and tell us their experiences, uh, there's no way of knowing what she went through. Emily, even at her young age, at 8 years old, understood exactly what happened to her, and what
Yeah.
was happening to her. Um, she knows afterwards what she went through, and yet she copes. It's the typical resilience of kids. Now, Emily was lucky; she was able to bounce back, but some of her some of the other kids did not bounce back. They're introverted. They don't want to be with their friends. They stay in the house. Everyone's an individual.
So do you think it might, I mean, with Emily, it's taken a long time for her to even start recounting her experiences and even to begin to talk again. Do you think that's going to take even longer with Emily Damari?
Yeah, for sure. Uh, we don't know what she's been through. And certainly, obviously, it's been for a much longer period. She's going to be mentally broken, physically broken, and more spiritually broken. That that amount of time will spiritually break you, not knowing whether you're going to live that day every day for 470 days. That takes a very large toll on you.
What's the first kind of encouraging sign that you got your Emily was healing? How does the process begin, and what happens from that point?
Right. Obviously, when she first came out, she was starving. I mean, she was ravenous.
Yeah.
But the doctors in the hospital, when she was first released, told us you've got to moderate her intake because it'll make her sick. It'll do her more damage than good. So, she wanted to eat like a horse, but we had to moderate it for a while. When she went in, she had chubby 8-year-old girly cheeks, and when she came back, she was as sharp as me. You could see her bone structure. So food we had to be careful with. Also, because she hadn't seen the light of day for 50 days, we had to slowly introduce her to the sun. Otherwise, she'd just burn up. So that's not great. But the biggest signs was when she slowly stopped whispering.
She got her voice back.
Yeah, she was literally scared to talk. She was still in the frame of mind that if she spoke above a whisper, she'd be stabbed.
Because she believed, didn't she? She was so traumatized that she was told that she'd be killed, stabbed or shot if she was to say anything that might give her position away while she was locked in Gaza.
Yeah, they didn't put it as nicely as that. They just said, keep your voice low, below a whisper, or we will kill you with this knife.
Wow.
To an 8-year-old child, and to her friend Hila, who was only 13 as well. But that's the type of people we're dealing with.
And
But
it took her months to get through that stage, didn't it? So
yeah.
she got her voice back. Was that with the help of counsellors or specialists who basically brought her out of herself again?
Oh yeah, a very, very wide arrangement of treatments, therapies. Obviously, psychiatrists. Horse riding was. I can't recommend that enough. She loves animals, so we did dog training, dancing on stage, acting, anything to project her voice, to bring it back to some degree of normality.
What will happen to Emily Damari now? I mean, obviously you've experienced of this. What's the process? What will she, in what way will she be made
Okay.
well?
You have to imagine this, that every hostage that comes out, they're being taken out of the tunnels. The hostage doesn't know what the hell what's going to happen to them. Even if the terrorists tell them, we're releasing you today, we know they play games, so there's no certainty there. So the first hope that you're released is when the Hamas hand you over to the Red Cross. So that's like, oh, maybe this is real. And then you get handed over to the Israeli army, and that's more uniform. So it's like, oh, are they just playing with me? It's only when you see the face from the army to the loved one that they now know that they're safe. That's why it's always very important that the army invite the closest family member to that exchange, to that final exchange, and then only at the very last second that you are actually released and safe. Until you see your child, that the eye-to-eye contact, you don't know if you don't know if they're gonna come up. Within the next 2 hours, the whole deal could collapse from either side. It is a nightmare until you see their eyes.
Yeah, because we saw that dramatic moment. I mean, it must still bring tears to your eyes when you saw Emily for the first time and she ran into your arms. I mean, the Damari family, they're going to have that same experience now. How do you prepare for that? Because the surge of emotion must be incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's like your child, your baby has been reborn. So from that initial greeting with your child, the next step is you get transported to the hospital in Tel Aviv, where they check you physically, observe you mentally, and see if there's any attention that needs to be done to the person. And from then on, it's a long process of therapies, whatever you think is suitable.
Yeah. Do they recommend that the loved one, doesn't leave her side in the initial phase, just to make sure that they have that crutch to lean on? Were you ever present, or did they limit the amount of time you were there, or what did they
Oh
do?
no. In the hospital, they give you a room totally dedicated to that child or person for
Yeah.
the family. So you sleep with her. There's no way I would let my Emily out of my sight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly for the first few months, and there's no way she would let me be out of her sight. It's a massive thing to give them security that nobody's going anywhere, you're not going anywhere. you're glued together for a few months.
Okay. You've talked before about the effect on it on Emily. Were there any unexpected effects? Anything that you didn't think about her personality that's changed? Is she in some way scarred?
She's very, very good. The nightmares lasted for quite a while, but
How long?
the main difference, I would say, in personality, and all the people I've spoken to, their level of maturity goes up quite
Yeah.
a lot. You know, they've lived like a they've gone through stuff that nobody should ever go through.
Would you have any advice for Emily Damari's family now to pass on?
Right. If you have a pet,
Yeah.
bring it along. It's the most grounding thing possible. Somehow, the face of your parent is absolutely fantastic. The face of your family is fantastic. But for me, anyway, the love of your pet is so deep. It's it's above consciousness. It's very hard to explain. Yeah, instant love. After that, just all the things that they're connected with from the past, literally the past, the food that they like, their favorite food,
Yeah.
their favorite drink, anything to reconnect them with their old life, because it really is their old life.
Yeah. And that would just basically just try to live as normally as possible, just like you were before. Or is that impossible?
At the beginning, that's very, very impossible. Yeah. No, it's a very long process of therapy, just adjusting to being in a society again. You've possibly been locked up in a room in solitary confinement, or in a room with two or three others. No, no civilized amenities like a toilet or a shower. Just getting back into civilized life.